Ready? This is Rao Kulusu. I'm coming before you with our regular 8 p.m. Sessions that we do. Um Thanks for joining me on all the platforms. I'm now open on the Clubhouse, Wisdom app, Instagram, and also on the Twitter, Facebook, LinkedIn, and YouTube. Okay, so whoever wants to dial in, they can dial in there, but I don't know. You can dial in to call, talk to me on the other platforms except the Instagram, Wisdom, and Clubhouse. Today, I just want to discussion about that age-old question. You who am I? That's a big question for a lot of spiritual enhancing people who are really um, uh, oriented towards this question want to really find out what are there on this body, beyond this mind, beyond the personality. What is it that ticks us, that gives us some sense of permanency, some sense of uh, doing things in a certain way, in a filled way. So I was very fascinated with this question for a time, and introduction to people like Ramana Maharshi who helped me to get deeper into that question, and exploring that with him was really something of a you know uh, treat, really. So I wanted to hear that exploration, and also invite you to contribute to this exploration from a colleague, not just somebody who has self-realized or arrived or anything like that, but the significance of the question itself and the significance of the quest itself. So it has been a question that was pursued for ages by people. Different religions posed it different way. Know yourself was a very age-old question. Everybody knows about that. So why this question? Why the importance? We are going to explore that a little bit. As we go into this question, you will see the reason for it and why it is so important. Because this is not for people in their personality, or who are in their opinions about themselves, or just a mental conclusions. It's not about that. It's more about people who have intimations of not just this body, or I'm not just this person. I'm not just this academic achievements. I'm not this degrees. I'm not standing, whatever, right? Once you want to find deeper, and the experience of that is very profound, it's very peaceful, and very calming, and gives you a sense of permanency beyond this birth death cycle. So it's a very fulfilling experience. The people who can explore like that, that's what we are going to explore today. Um, the whole thing has started with people who are uh, leading their regular life, where they are enjoying their life, and then suddenly they have certain suffering happen. Then they begin to question their old beliefs of I'm this beautiful body, and then they come to have intimations that it can die, and they will think, oh, I'm a guy, I have this personal achievements. Then you see that they are not really that much compared to other people. So you compare, or you see the value is not that much, that kind of sensation. So eventually, you will be like, I want to really realize who I am. But the ancients have really extended that discussion. They said that's the only purpose you are born as a human being. Okay, you have that intelligence, you have that sense of just being, no other animal has. So you were raised to turn inside and realize who you are. For that, you had to question, who am I? Then there are methods that were described in at the philosophy that attracted me very much. So they kind of looked at the human mechanism, if you can say that, as having five codes around uh, what we really are, the sense of being, the sense of consciousness has five codes around it. One is the physical body, another is the energy body, one is the mental body, and understanding intellectual body, and fifth one is our sense of happiness, sadness, or emptiness, whatever is they call as a blissful body. So, so Annamaya Kosha is the physical body, Pranamaya Kosha is your energy body, and Manomaya Kosha your personality, thoughts, emotions, all that. And then Vijnanamaya Kosha is your intellect, and your happy or sad or blissful state where it is emptiness, that they call Anandamaya Kosha. All these five layers around your real self, which is that conscious being, which is actually not God, but you are in the real, unconditional, absolute consciousness of everything. Everybody is in it, even the physical things and also inanimate and animate things are in there. That was their uh, uh, profound and conclusion, which they have shown in so many ways. They were very established people who are really in that state, for example, Ramana, for example, Vivekananda or Ramakrishna, any of those Indian people that I know, or if you take people like Maestro Eckhart, or any of the Western contemplative people, or in the Muslims, there are certain people that are there, and also in the Japanese Zen masters, Chinese, any number of Chinese practitioners who have realized their self. There were accounts of that, the Buddhists, the Kashmiri Shai people, you can say, even the Torah masters, the Israel. There are so many people who have turned inside with their intuition and found themselves. So they were all the real um role models like for us. Let's explore this five layer. When you want to find out who you are, you want to turn inside. That means you are definitely can see the physical body as such. Definitely your body, that body is not you, though. You definitely have the body, and you suffer good things, bad things of the body, ill health, and good health and all that. Actually, we are proposing to you be in good health, good, but confine yourself to the body. Obviously, we don't do that. We know that we are more than that. Okay, what are we? Are we the thinking, feeling, and emoting personality? Is that what it is, or is that changing, or is that really object for us because we are aware of, or is it self conscious, or consciousness has to light it up? When you put these three questions for any of these five layers, you will come out the answer like, yeah, each layer is changing, and each layer can be an object to us because that we are aware of it, right? If we are aware of it, then it is an object. The subjective self is aware of it. And then it is not conscious by itself. Chit versus jada, that's what they said. Jada means inert, right? Compared to that, it doesn't have. So when you look at in those three questions, changing or not changing, and is it an object or subject, or is it a conscious by itself or not? All the five layers to show you that they all change. Body changes, our thoughts change, our emotions change, our understanding change, our energy changes, and also our inner happiness, sadness, efforts, they change too, right? So that's the test by which you can see that your real self, which is the awareness itself, is not changing. That is us. Okay, and once you can do that, there are so many other ways too. There is the three avastha means uh, waking, dreaming, and sleeping state. All those states also has something behind it. It's a substratum, which is us. Awareness is there too. As there is what's called seer and the seen discrimination. That's also there too. So there are too many methods that in talked about whereby you can realize who you are. Why do you have to do that? Because there is fear of death of this body. There is uncertainty of the life. There are times when you cannot really the storms in your mind and your understanding, in your energy. So have some kind of permanency, to have some kind of understanding about what is death, what is beyond death. These things are very important. And also, how can you transgress the suffering that is come across our way in the human life? Not like a completely limiting the suffering, but it is like a going beyond suffering, thereby you are not subject to the suffering itself. And you can also have a fulfillment that is forever fulfilling. That's what happened to the yogis that I was hearing into. They were very happy and very contented when they found themselves. And then they didn't ask anything from the world, but then went about helping the world in a major way. So they said, Atma Mokshardam Jagat Hitachi. First realize yourself. Having realized that forever fulfilling, forever happy state, you are contented with it. It's like a Purnam. This is Purnam means perfection. Once you discover that, you don't have to do anything for it. You don't have to go and achieve anything for it. You are that already. Only thing is you think you are not that. And that's why all the understanding, everything needed, you just have to be, unfold all the things that you are not. Then you'll be able to be who you are already, and that is the awareness. Without that awareness, you can't see anything, you can't understand anything, you can't experience anything. So it's not even an experience, it's a question of understanding what is ignorance of this. We are ignorant of our own self. From that, how can you lead to knowing who you already are? You know, they said from avidya to vidya. Avidya means ignorance, vidya means knowledge. So for this, you don't have to do yoga and practices and experiences and all that. You don't have to learn lot of texts or all that. But you can learn the processes from the text. But then they always demand you experience whatever you are doing. They said there are three ways you can do. You can listen first. That's where you have to listen first, and then next one is you have to doubt and question that what you have learned or listened from the text and whatever systems they have proposed. And then finally you have to make it real in your life. Shravana, Manana, Nidhyasana are the three processes they described in ancient India. Shravana means you listen to somebody like Ramana or masters like that. Listen to them and you completely listen. And like that, you when you study the text that they have, so many they have, then also you have to listen to the message in there. Not knowing, not being scholarly about it, but listen to the message. And then that step is manana. That means you take those you took those recommendations, you take those their conclusions, and then you question them. You kind of ask a question. That way the whole material will be easy for you to understand, and also it makes really true for you or not. You are not expected to believe anything. You are not expected to really fantasize anything. you are expected to question it and find out the truth for you. And if it becomes real for you, because these are the, they said, where you look at your three stages of awakening, dreaming, and sleeping, and see what is behind the all of them, and you will get in touch with that. Or you have this panchakosha, like the five layers I talked about. You go through all the three and finally find out is that there or not. So if you take, for example, in Bhagavad Gita, he said, uh, this and mind is like clothing, and clothing is changed. Our real self can take another body too. That's why a lot of people understand Bhagavad Gita don't have any fear of death, because the way it is described was that it has neither birth or, you know. So, like, coming back to the three methods we do: first we listen, then we question, and the thing is we have to make that reality in our life happening or not. So, by that also requires a lot of vigilance, a lot of awareness, and being in the present all the time, which is not that bad. Once you understand this, then it will seep into your life as you really be in that, rather than in your mind, which is full of opinions and changes all the time. Understanding, which also can be modified, right? So once you really understand and make it appear in your daily life, it is tremendously fulfilling, and also doesn't give you the suffer. Otherwise you go through, because you have established in your mind suffers. You establish in body, your body suffers. But then, having this understanding, you are away from the body and mind, and then you are really in that ultimate consciousness, which you and respected everybody else. So that's why they give a simple mantra: deham naham, koham. So what does it mean? Deha means sharir. Sharir means body, mind, and intellect and prana, and anandamaya, those five layers. You are not that. They are your tools. Okay. And then once we are in your real self, which is clothed by these five layers, then you can go the life really seeing and being dispassionate about the suffering the body and mind may go through. That way you transcended that. That means you are established in a self of yours where it is not good. It's not going to birth or death also. So what is the death? To the body and mind, but not to the real self. So in that way you are immortal, you are vast and eternal. Once you have that understanding, the events in the life or the death or anything, you will wait for what it is, the change of clothing. So that's why it's very, very important to make an attempt, and also to really see this path is knowledge path. This is not about having an experience. This is not about having a lot of scholar knowledge, not that. This is about knowledge of yourself, from taking that wheel of ill away from us, that we are just this body mind complex. you know so is what I wanted to begin exploring. This vast subject, obviously, and a lot of people may not even make a dent into this understanding, but once introduced, maybe people who are advanced in things, they can also contribute to us. Otherwise, you can follow people who have already done that. So there are stages. The stages are: first you understand what is the reality about yourself. That means you have developed a discrimination of what is really you and what is not you. Then you identify what is not you and develop dispassion for that. You know, and then you develop a silent mind, and then you look inside beyond the mind and body and get touch with your real self. Viveka, Vairagya, and stillness of the body, and then Mumukshatu. Four qualities that describe somebody to have to explore this phenomenon. You know, once you develop the dispassion for the things that are not real. Take, for example, in the childhood, we are kind of very fond of doing some for our pleasure, but in the, we can develop kind of a dispassion for that because they don't seem to be very attractive. That is kind of thing you develop once of your real self and not reality of the body mind complex. You know, the hum, that means I'm not this body mind complex. Ho hum. Then who am I? That question there. Ho hum means who am I? So hum. So hum means I am that reflection of the ultimate consciousness in the form of, you can call, or you can call the pervading eternal reality, whatever, that are energy, and you are reflected through yourself by that ultimate consciousness, and that is what you are. So hum means that is what. So you ask, you say, I'm not this body mind complex, but I am this reality behind that, and that is everlasting. Amrutasya, they say. That means eternal, never having that death. So that's what I wanted to bring to your, understanding and your examination and your opinions, not opinion, your approach to it. Is there something you are even thinking about it, or you don't want to think about it? That's all fine. But then this is something very important for human beings to explore because they will transgress suffering and also they will be in forever fulfilled. They said, Atyadika Dukha Nivruti and Paramananda Prapti. So you only transgress suffering that we create for ourselves. We think we are the body mind complex and the senses because our senses intellect always go out. What is required is turn back, look with, not with intellect, with intuition. Then you will do Atma Mokshadam, self realization. Once you have self realized, Jagat Hitacha, you go and work for the welfare of. Okay, that is what I have gathered from the ancient wisdom. So I was sharing that, and this has got a multiple facets, multiple ways of investigating this and finding and making it real in our. It's not like a simple thing or anybody can really tell you, but you grasp it and then you practice it, and you yourself will have that experiential knowledge of your real self. You know. So anybody else wants to come up and join in this discussion, you are more than welcome. And also on the Clubhouse, Instagram, so you can come and talk to me about it. Maybe Ashish, somebody wants to talk all the time. See whether he wants to come up. Hi, Ashish.
Hello, doctor. Thank you very much. How are you doing today?
I'm doing very good. I'm doing very good. I'm very excited about this topic. It's why I was able to bring it up. So,
I guess in the who am I, if you just remove the I, you
yeah.
got the answer, I guess.
Yeah. Individual I. Yeah. You know, that's what Ramana always said. If you say, if he goes and says, somebody of him and said, Sir, am I eligible to inquire about this phenomena? He said, or do you say I in your sentence? And if you are, say, then you are eligible to do that, you know. But he said that individual I is you, but what is that permanent I? I am, I am that I am, which is Christ. Somebody said in Bible. He said that they express much better. So I am that I am. You know that he said much more thing, and he said you got to take your mind, establish in your real I. You know, and that is all the way there, and you establish your superficial mind and thought and activity of and establish it in that, then you will be able to really be with your real I. You know.
because I think we develop a lot of thoughts, throughout our life, and then we stick to those thoughts,
Yeah.
and then we put some new thoughts, and then we stop. And this is
Yes.
what the idea we believe. This is what I.
Yes.
But I think the part that part exists, before coming any thought in the mind.
Yeah.
So
See, they divided the whole
yes,
body into three parts,
that's
Ashish.
my
Yeah. They divided the body into three parts. The first part is the gross body, which is our, gross body, like limbs and organs and all that, The second part is the subtle body, sukshma sarira, like thoughts and emotions and our conclusions, our personal, all that is the sukshma sarira. And then there is a causal body, that one that is responsible for our body to come around, the genetics and all that, right? Uh, when you die, physical body dies, but not the sukshma body also. But eventually, once you enlighten, you get to get off this sukshma body. But to them, you have to take several births. That was their conclusion. And so, beyond this gross body, sukshma body, and causal body, there is that spark of life, the consciousness that comes up and then projects everything out of them, and then they get the life. Otherwise, uh, that is never changed. That never has birth and death, but that energy is always there. And in that energy, who we are our eternal, undying, unborn entity. That's what the realization should be. You will realize that when you be yourself, instead of knowing or becoming something, you just eliminate all that and all the thought also that things I'm not this. Okay, thought always wants to establish itself. So that is the subtlety about it. If you want to establish yourself in your thought, that's fine, but that will continue to. That is subject to karma. That is subject to rebirth and all that. So that is the difference they talked about. But once you are realize that I'm this real self, that's also is not the end of it, because you have to maintain that, because these thoughts come back and all that. And also there is another stage, what's called even mukta. That means you are realized when you are alive all this, and you live like that beyond the mind and body complex. That is the ultimate aim, but very, very, very few can go to that. But even understanding, I'm not just this reactive mind. I'm not just this suffering body. People have achieved a level of competence in life about taking physical suffering and mental suffering. And not only that, they can really see a lot of things very trivial and put them aside and be happy, you know. And that way, actually, self-realized people are the healthiest people, because they are not, bothered by simple things that easily. If they may come, they may want to do things the right way. Actually, they are able to do them because they don't have this wavering mind or changing mind or causing anxiety, depression, and all that. They are kind of placid, stable. Sthita pragnata, they said, they are looked in their uh, pragna of capacity to be able to lead life and do things. That is a very valuable way. So that whole spiritual life was, you do everything to clean your mind so that you can realize this truth very easily, you know. And then you maintain that till the stage where you are completely transgressed that mind complex, and then you are established in that in life when you are here. So Sthitapragnata will have self-realization, Atmavokadam, and then continue that for a long time. They go into Jivan Mukta. So everything is like a big, big effort, but then understand it, it could be easier too, you know. So that's why I thought I will open up and present this to people. I don't need to do this for my, but just to share that I was doing, because the practices that I do are not at all related to anything that I come certain talk because they're all anybody can do it themselves, but it is a question of they want to do it or not. And also there will be some help from the divine grace because you realize everything is guru and guide is you. Anyway, maybe I'm talking unnecessarily. You have any other questions, Ashish?
So one thing, so if we are not the body and whatnot, so why this the concept of the rebirth and those kind of things, right?
Yeah,
Why that is fixed and where this karma is getting stored,
yeah.
and even I just want to know if I should be about it.
Yeah, you don't have to. What it is if you are established in your personality, your mind, and then go on doing stuff, is when you are subjected to karma. But if you are beyond that ego, beyond that reality, really real, because everything else is projecting from that, then that reality to reach that, you will take more forms like that to establish yourself in the karmic way, that is non-karmic. But if you are realize yourself as the reality, you don't have any karmic thing because you are not doing anything through the ego. That's upside. That is why it is. But it's a personal finding. It's not that you have to do it. It's all how you are attached to your body and mind, how much you realize the self or not. As I said, there are so many things that you could perceive as a self realized versus the person who is establishing the ego and then goes from there. So it's all a question of people have gone through this after people don't have any peace or quiet in their mind, even with a lot of money, a lot of things. Then they wanted to know what is it all about, how we are. So the Vedas and Upanishads, they came up with Mahavakyas, which are uh, Aham Brahmasmi, Tattvamasi, Pragnanam Brahma, all those Ahamatma Brahma, all these four Mahavakyas came where they described the whole thing about the human endeavor, human existence, you know, and then ancient India was famous for that, and then still have that alive. But only few people are interested and go there. That's up to their choice. Because I come to know about it, I thought I will share what that is all about. It's not that it's a prescription or anything like they have to do this. It is not. But only those people who are really aware of that and go through the suffering and all that, they're aware of it, they question that like a Buddha or a Ramana, they go through that and then they tell us this is what the truth is about. And we take a few things of what they say, but I'm talking about is this excess, this much deeper thing is there. You don't want to do it, that's definitely up to you.
Yeah. And the world have different philosophies. So whether is there a general thinking or not, I mean that is like my thing, Let's say people in Kenya, like for example, they sleep on the trees
Yeah,
actually,
but there's
and
some
there
commonalities
are
too. Yeah,
kings who live in the palaces.
yeah,
So are they like same people? The all the thinking that has come to the saints may not have come to the other people.
yeah.
So
No, it
is
has
this
come.
thinking and is really necessary for one's life?
Yeah, yeah, they can live, they can eat and have this enjoy life and die. That's fine. But it's for the people who question beyond that. See, what it is they have ancient India exploring the consciousness. Out of that, a lot of these universal truths have come out, and people have lived very luxuriously. For example, in the state, they have enjoyed everything. Find nothing is really pleasurable anymore. They have people who have amassed a lot of money, lot of pleasures for this kind of thing, and people look for relief of the mind also. That was there. All those people quest is that. For example, King Solomon and all that. So many people are there accumulating wealth and then allowing the suffering for a lot of people to go through too. But those kind of people, like emperors and kings in India, they listened to this philosophies and they wanted to be like that. They called them Rajeshis. So those kind of people, they really enlightened, and that's why they don't want to do anything for their personal or aggrandizement or narcissistic. They worshipped the people and really worked for the welfare because they are released from their own bondage from within. So in that way, the leaders and kings, everybody function better when they have it. For example, everybody knows Ramayana, but few people know about Vashishta Rama. There is written about a dialogue in Rama and the Vashishta. That is about this, about self-realization, about Jivan Mukta, about Sthita Pranata and all. Rama has employed those principles quite a bit, and that's why everybody compares his He sacrificed his wife so for the sake of the people, to establish the dharma, the righteous behavior, and all that. For example, if you take the Bhagavad Gita, it is this. The second chapter is about this. Najayate mriyateva. That means you who really are does not have birth or death. And also the Vasamsi, that poem also is about your five layers around your Atman, your clothes, like, and then once you and then, but then he talks to Arjuna, who is like a householder, who is a prince. So he tells him, you got to do your job with a true heart and unselfish heart, thereby winning it and be eligible for this knowledge. You know, so most of the people live in that uh, uh, household, or that is their choice. But then when they come to the stage where they want to find out, they want to have a mind of pure desire and all that. So these are all just for people. If you want to just to be material living and then enhance the bodily and mind wise, it's fine. But then the condition is you'll have a lot more buzz to clean your body and mind, and eventually you will be paying for it. But while you are alive, these people live very passionately. For example, Ramana Maharshi had this sarcoma on his arm, which is a very pretty, I think it's not lymphosarcoma, it is more like a sarcoma of the muscle, right? And he had tremendous pain, suffering from that. But he was so dispassionate of the body and mind. It's an extreme example because he kind of realized and then stayed in that from the age 16. But most of the people realize and then they fall back again. So they have to do that again. So the Jivan Muktas are one who have completely transgressed that, and that's why they are completely free of mind and body structure. So there's nothing here that you have to do. It's a question of making people think like, is there something beyond this body mind complex, which is my structure? Are all these people great spiritual beings who have attained self realization? Are they talking about something that is very real? You got to explore that. That's why it is presented, and it's not like a prescription. It's not like a telling people to do anything, but just be aware of something like that is there, and many people that. But it is very fulfilling and very serene um, entity that gives you a lot of contentment in life and joyfulness in life too. Joyfulness in the sense you don't have this disturbance of the mind going this way and all those hurts and sorrows and all those things. You will be taking them with a smile. Pawan is here. Does he want to come up?
But if though, yeah,
Yeah, go ahead, Ashish.
yeah. But one of my cousin used to say, you should enjoy. You should have all the kind of things in the life. When you go back to the God ask what actually I had fed you for if you didn't do anything.
Yeah,
Kind of.
you can
So
enjoy. That's no problem. You can
you know
enjoy.
what I'm saying.
Yeah, but what happens is after so many people find that the pressure is no more. This is of people who have done extreme pleasures and all that. They can turn to this kind of thing. There's nothing like uh, being joyful in life. That's always is proposed. But then when you have these questions, then the joy doesn't seem like correct. That's what it is. So Pawan is here. Hi, Pawan. How are you?
Good morning, Dr.
Good.
Pawan from Bangalore,
Yeah.
India. And, fine, thank you. I just here to listen to you
Yeah.
questions today.
Yeah. We were just presenting something that's, I think, very valuable even in the current condition of COVID, and the world is having a terrible time as a planet. What were the if you really praise, then there's a lot of suffering going on, and then also there is a lot of desirous things that people are thinking they're normal for them to have this and live joyfully and all that. But that consumerism has become rampant, you know, and that's a lot of problems with the planet, with the weather, and all that. You see, threatened, right? We don't even know whether it will last. That kind of thing. But then having this kind of awareness makes you closer to the nature, of the nature, and then really understanding the prices and the consumerism are there, are really our mother earth. Maybe people will come to common sense and then really be very minimalistic living. And that's the one thing I always felt was when the ancients were living with very little taking from the earth and also allowing the earth to regenerate. What Zaira's commercial thing has made it so tremendously hurtful of the soil, hurtful of the weather patterns, or hurtful of everything, right? So that is ruining our survival on this planet. So living simply outside and then turning inside and finding the forever fulfillment of joy that they promised and delivered it also. It's already there. It's not their creation. Only thing is they discovered it. They found it and then they lived very happily, joyfully inside too. So they were not because they were uh, craving for lots of external things, because they saw that minimalistic life is very good for their interior and also for the uh, planet as a whole. In that way, we can argue that way too. Why don't people become more careful with resources of the earth? Why are they not paying attention to the earth's resources? As such, and then if they are living, you know, vicariously, and they're not really paying attention, that's what it happened, right? Most of the earth is really paying the price that consumer oriented rampant consumerism. Necessary, okay, but then a lot of it is the rampant consumerism and hurting the animals and all those things. People who are worried about these things, they look at some peace and quiet, and they find that is in their interior, you know, and they go from there. So that is, it's a kind of,
One question, Doctor.
yeah.
Sorry. No,
So it's a question of realizing where we are in the human life as a whole, what we are doing to our environment, and is there a place for returning inside and finding forever fulfillment? They call Purnamidam. That is there in us. It doesn't cost anything. It's only question of understanding that in a different way by putting aside our own limited thinking, then turning towards that. And that's very, very fulfilling. And then actually, those kind of people are aren't few, and but they a lot of again Buddha, Ramana. But I'm talking about those kind of people, not any one of us. I'm talking about those people made a high frequency and they delivered too. Eckhart Tolle, he said one thing. He said these are frequency keepers, frequency of the human evolution, frequency of human uh, development, and people who are in lot of trouble as a soul, they go to them and find answers too. So if you can realize them ahead of that, I think it's much easier thing. Anyway, this is something very, not an easy topic, not a simple topic, not answered with a theory, for sure. It takes a lifetimes probably for some people to even to grasp it. And so that's why everybody can be like a evolved person. But the people who have evolved, that shows in their life, this is a kind of attempt to really place some learning before everybody and then inviting them to do the same thing too. Otherwise, it's not like a clubhouse thing where we present some of a transactional nature. It's not that. It's inviting people. Hey, this is how the ancient explored this, and then they provided this, and that they themselves lived very simply but very rich inside. That's why they're called Rajarshi, some of them, because they are like a Maharaj. They call them because they are kings of their own psychology, own moods, and everything else too. So anyway, they have very little personal suffering. And as I said, this is something as a doctor is interested. Self-realization as a person is very healthy both mentally and physically. You know, that's a very wonderful thing. Also, even if you do just attempt and then touch few seconds of this stillness that is inside, and you are kind of really, really are there. You know, so that happens quite a bit of people are in that they are very healthy. They have achieved tremendous stability with meditation. Stability with meditation results in a non-movement of the thought, which results in good hormone secretion or stress hormones. That way, their body is very good and they are not used to any of the luxuries. So they put the body through enormous physical work. So in so many ways, they live naturally and they are very healthy people. And then their longevity for a long time. They last for a long time because they very little energy do stuff that we all do. Anyway, there, it's not, I don't argue for them because they have centuries of years of history inviting people to take that. That's all. All right, I think 45 minutes and there are not that many people here. So uh, we'll end that here and then just a brief presentation and so that people can take an interest in that. Okay. All right, and Ashish, I'll see you. Okay,
Thank you.
thank you.
Thank you. Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you, Randy.
Thank you. Okay. Power nodes will come out. So let's see. How are you?
Hello. I'm good, sir. I'm good. It was, yeah, I was listening to you. It was really good. I thought when you called Pawan, no, I thought you were calling me, sir.
Yeah,
Other
there was
Pawan, you
another
called Pawan.
Pawan here on the clubhouse, so I was talking to him.
Oh, okay, okay,
He
okay.
came
I
on.
thought you called me.
Yeah,
Okay,
he
okay,
came and
okay.
talked to me, and then he didn't have any question. He just wanted to, listen to.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, yeah. He told the same answer. I thought you were calling me and I want to tell. He told the same answer. So I want to tell.
yeah,
Okay, anyways, leaving that. Yeah,
yeah,
so today's course, today's this thing was about realizing the true self and
yeah,
right.
Even a
Like I've seen
perspective,
one Krishnamurthy's video.
yeah, every perspective is also from the mind, but you are not the mind.
Mhm.
You got to go beyond
Okay,
all
okay, okay.
perspectives and then realize your energy, what you are. And that comes only when you put all the
Mhm.
perspectives aside. No perspective is right or wrong, but you have to put it away. That's all
Okay,
from the mind, right? You, again, they change.
okay.
So that's what it's a big topic.
Okay, okay. So we have to.
Yeah, it's a big topic. It's not
Mm-hmm.
like a statement or something that we can follow like a principle. It's a awareness thing, because that awareness,
Okay.
once you realize, and you will see how much more it can reveal to you.
Mm-hmm. Oh, okay. So you're telling it's not about perspective, so it's more
No,
than that. Above perspective, it's awareness.
yeah, it's awareness. It's not thought. Perspectives are from the thought, right? It is not the thought or the
Okay.
mind. It is the third layer of the five layers I talked about.
Oh wow.
Yeah,
Okay.
perspective is the third layer. So you are that self surrounded by these five layers: Annamaya
Okay.
Kosha,
Okay.
Pranamaya Kosha, Manomaya Kosha, Vijnanamaya Kosha, Anandamaya Kosha. These are all close like for us. So mind is also like that. That's why once you understand that, all the thoughts don't bother you much either. You can watch the
Mm-hmm.
thoughts actually. You can really dispassionately watch them. It's not my
Yeah, you
perspective.
can
I
see them for what they are. Yeah,
Yes,
not getting involved and frustrated because of the thoughts. Yeah.
because you are aware
Yes.
of them, right? You are aware of means
Mm-hmm.
that thoughts are object to you.
Okay. Okay. I can use them
Yeah.
rather than it is using me.
Yes. And
Wow.
then you react so quickly, it's very difficult to even to perceive them.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Thought is so
Okay.
quick,
Yeah.
mercurial, right? It comes so fast. People cannot believe that they are not that, but that is the truth. You are not the thoughts. You are the
Mm-hmm.
awareness. Without that awareness projecting the thoughts, you won't have anything.
Okay. Okay.
So
Yeah, sir.
this
You
is a
get lost
very
in thought.
very big topic. It's not like a 1 hour is like a minor drop in that, but people have I thought some people may be interested in that. That's why I presented it. By
Beautiful, sir.
myself, I'm pretty happy, very joyful. But then
True, sir. True, sir.
present
Mm-hmm.
it to people so that people will, whoever may be out there are interested,
Mm.
maybe they can also come and contribute. That's what. Actually,
Yeah, sir. Because all this topic nobody talks, sir. Like
yeah.
it's very good to hear about this. Nobody is.
No, that is my
They're all
point.
talking about distraction, outward thing. Nobody is
Yeah,
talking about the inward, how to live the life.
yeah.
They're
No,
lacking
no.
that.
Look at the world. Instead of going out, suppose we all turn inside and have some stability, then we can escape a lot of these materialistic sufferings like that. And that in
Yes,
that
sir.
way, some of the scholars here, they were saying, Mr. and all people, they were, yeah, that means Buddha also, right? Understand the desire and don't let it live with minimum and be happy inside. That's some kind of practices, and that is very good for a lot of people all over the world. Otherwise, everybody is going after all the things that they may find later on not really worth it. So, kind of thing gives you the stability inside, especially Indian youth. What you can do if you can stabilize yourself, balance yourself, stay away from all the addictions, stay away from all avocations like help insurance to other people, you guys will be very powerful. Actually, for a spiritual says, one of the requirements is you have. Do you know that part?
You have to be.
Young.
Sir, your line is getting cut, sir. Your internet is, I don't know. I think connection problem.
Okay. One thing
Should be
is
what, sir? Tell again.
spiritual
You have to be.
qualification. One of the qualifications to have this spiritual
Sir, getting cut, sir. It's loading. Sir, I can't hear you.
I
Your
can
internet or my internet, I don't know.
I can hear you okay very clearly. I don't know.
Yeah, sir. Yes, sir. Sir.
Yeah.
Go ahead, sir. What is the important quality needed to be the
Young and strong. You have to be young and strong.
Okay. That is the quality needed.
Yeah, that's one of the important qualities for spiritual exploration. You cannot explore this. You have to start very young.
Okay. You need more time to understand that you're telling.
Not only that, you have to have vigorous capacity to investigate because your mind is already set. When you are very old, you cannot explore anything new. But young people, you know what they do? They used to have young kids explore this
Mm-hmm.
way back.
Wow. Okay.
Young kids.
Golden days.
Yeah. Okay, Pawan, I will talk to you. We'll see. Okay.
Done, sir. Done.
Okay. Bye.
Same time.
Okay.
See
Bye.
you, sir. Have
Yeah.
a good day, sir. Have a
Yeah.
good day.
Bye.